This is a replay Obelix sent to me with the Allans coming up against the Langobards. And right away, some interesting builds here. Very interesting, actually. It's the Battle of Swamp, and I'll just pause it so we can go over these builds. Now, for Obelix and the Allans, we have a total of 4 Elite Gotharsi. That's fairly standard, but what's not standard is giving them 3 gold, and I'm a bit curious as to why you would give Shock Infantry 3 gold, because it makes their stats very redundant. So, we also have, of course, Noble Alani, 4 of those. An Alani General, Shock Cavalry General. Then we have 3 pikes, but what sets this build apart is that it has only 5 cavalry units and it has 8 skirmish units. So we have 4 Germanic hurlers, and then we have 4 Germanic archers. Now for Arctic Shieldbreaker, he has positioned his units in an interesting position here. Now, he doesn't want to take the engagement over here, it seems like, because of these areas of terrain. So, it looks like he wants to swing around like this and have the engagement happening here. So let's see if that happens, because that will allow him to protect both his flanks with these 2 bodies of water. So, interesting choice there by Arctic Shieldbreaker. And he has Godun's Chosen, 6 Godun's Chosen. Then he has 6 Germanic Horse, and Germanic Horse are absolutely crap now, so that's a very interesting choice he made. He went for very elite infantry, and went for cheap, somewhat sturdy cavalry that isn't really that good anymore. 2 Germanic Hurlers, 2 Germanic Archers, and Redoubtable Chieftain. And over here he has 2 Horse Hewers in the forest. So let's see what happens here when these 2 armies clash. In terms of advantages, the infantry advantage, I'd say, definitely goes to Arctic Shieldbreaker. His Godun's Chosen will tear through the infantry of Obelix. Now, the skirmishers of Obelix are very capable in dealing with the Godun's Chosen, since the Godun's Chosen have a very low chance to block missiles. Their shields are not the greatest. So Obelix enjoys a comfortable skirmishing advantage. However, he has fewer cavalry units, which could enable Arctic Shieldbreaker to get to the skirmishers of Obelix. And what Arctic Shieldbreaker needs to do here, he just needs to use his Germanic Horse units to stop the charges of these dangerous units, and then send in his infantry. If he's able to do that, his infantry is going to absolutely clean house. And it will also be very interesting to see how the Horse Hewers are able to do when supporting the Germanic Horse here, because Germanic Horse alone against triple gold Noble Alani, the Noble Alani are just going to chew through the Germanic Horsemen here. And it looks like he's going to use his Germanic Horse as a screen, spreading them out, maximizing his frontage, and minimizing the amount of casualties he's going to take from missile fire. And Obelix being very patient here, just maneuvering. And the way things are set up now, the flanks of Arctic Shieldbreaker are protected by this difficult terrain. Now there are some ever so slight. The player who makes the first move here runs the risk of fighting at a slight disadvantage elevation-wise. But Arctic Shieldbreaker is going so wide here, and it makes sense considering that he has more cavalry and considering that Obelix has more skirmishers. And already Obelix is pushing up his Germanic archers here, using precision shot and firing here on the Godun's Chosen. But he is taking some fire here from these Germanic archers. Needs to be a bit careful. The Godun's Chosen, they're actually dying. They're actually dying here. So you can see how vulnerable they are to missiles. Already these Germanic archers have killed 8 of them. So that's a very good trade for the Germanic archers, as long as they get away from these Germanic archers. Because these Germanic archers, they haven't killed They haven't killed much. These units are getting some kills here. But a nice move there by Obelix, plucking some Godans chosen off. Over here we have some Germanic hurlers pushing up. They could be useful in just eating the fire from all of these skirmish units. But I fear they will die rather quickly without any support. It looks like Obelix gets the first shots off here. And yeah, Germanic hurlers, they just die so quickly. But this is very nice what Arctic Shieldbreaker is doing here, pushing up his Germanic hurlers and then using his Germanic archers as a second line of skirmishers. And you can see Obelix is doing the same thing. Noble Alani cavalry thundering in. They need to be really careful, because they run the risk of being whittled down here to a significant degree. But Obelix is being smart and turning them around, and already one of the Germanic hurlers starting to waver here without really getting any kills, and that unit is going to break momentarily. But this is a very nice opening to the battle. Bit of skirmishing, bit of cavalry play from both sides. And these Germanic horse are of course much more expendable than the Alani horse. So he's using them to push back the skirmishers off Obelix. That could enable Obelix though, since he has so many skirmishers spread so wide, it could enable Obelix to get some very nice shots off on the Germanic horse. And let's see here, they are under fire. Let's see here if he manages to... It looks like he's actually firing on the Germanic hurlers, which makes sense. Now there's some firing coming on the Germanic horse. So the skirmish fight, no surprise there, Obelix is dominating the skirmish fight with his 8 skirmish units. But he is using a significant amount of his ammunition on these very cheap units, and that could very well be the plan of Arctic Shieldbreaker here, to just make Obelix expend as much ammunition as possible, so he doesn't have enough ammo to kill off all of these infantry units. But his Arctic Shieldbreaker is not getting any kills out of these Germanic hurlers, which of course isn't optimal. But he's doing rather well here with these Germanic archers. They are doing a lot of damage to these Germanic archers, and they could fire at the Noble Alani. Now they're firing at the Noble Alani, but the Noble Alani is pulling away. Flaming shots being used against Noble Alani. And these Germanic archers here in the water, they have a bit of time to get away. This could be very dangerous, because now the Germanic horsemen are in the water. They're going to get slowed down. If they take additional fire from the hurlers, they're going to be even slower in getting away. Here you can see just how slowly these units move now. But some nice skirmish being done there by Arctic Shieldbreaker as well, hitting all of these units. Still, Obelix has really only dealt with two units of slingers now. Quite a bit of ammo remaining on the Germanic archers of Arctic Shieldbreaker. Pushing up his Germanic hurlers, they do not have cavalry support, so this is dangerous here for Obelix. These Germanic horse could hit. They will get hit by Noble Alani. Oh! The Noble Alani knocked down a few of their own units, but it makes the Germanic horsemen turn around. The Noble Alani also turn around, and Arctic Shieldbreaker is the one who gets a few shots off on the Noble Alani cavalry. So these Germanic horsemen being used fairly well to disrupt and disorganize the lines of Obelix. These horse hewers a bit out of position here, same with these Godans chosen, but there is plenty of time for Arctic Shieldbreaker to remedy that. And once again, Obelix using his Germanic archers as a second line, hurlers first line. But it looks like these Germanic hurlers, they are going to get it now. These Germanic hurlers being used to stop the charge of these Germanic horse, and they do so very nicely, so that the Noble Alani are able to get in. Nicely done there by Obelix, very nice micromanagement. But being this, you can see how much this water comes into play, because yeah, the Germanic horsemen are going to lose a few men, but they were also able to get away fairly easily. But doing stuff like this so far ahead of one's own lines is very dangerous, because you're going to be losing men to skirmish. You don't have any support. Obelix just needs to be a bit careful about these Germanic archers, because they are once again able to fire at the noble Alani, and no noble Alani have died yet. But hit point damage is being done. The Germanic archers here are about to be under fire from Germanic hurlers. Should kill them off fairly quickly. Yep, very effective there. And these Germanic hurlers, they have gotten very nice kills, and they have lost so many men that at this point they could be used as sacrificial units, or lost so much ammo, I should say. And the same goes for the Germanic archers, but this might be intentional from Arctic Shieldbreaker, in that his most important units are still alive, and it's going to could be difficult for Obelix to kill off all these infantry units. But the Germanic horsemen, they are very close to being whittled down as well. So here we have an engagement. The Germanic hurlers getting hit, but the Germanic horsemen got hit by noble Alani, and they're not going to be able to stand for long against noble Alani. But there is some supporting fire here, I believe. No, not yet. Very nice kills by these hurlers now. And being smart here, firing at the noble Alani cavalry, ignoring the hurlers, is Arctic Shieldbreaker. But you can see how quickly the Germanic horsemen fall when being fired upon and when fighting noble Alani. But the noble Alani is losing a lot of men as well, and I think that is due to friendly fire. It looks like it's due to friendly fire at this point. The Germanic archers here, yeah, the Germanic hurlers are going to charge the Germanic archers, which is a good idea. So much ammunition lost on Obelix's units, although he had a massive amount of skirmish units. Right now he can't use those skirmish units to kill off the infantry and cavalry of Arctic Shieldbreaker, but he's done a decent enough job, and this, at this point, pulling these units back and getting support up would be a good idea. He doesn't have anything to fear right now from Arctic Shieldbreaker. So friendly fire is taking care of these Germanic horsemen, actually. So due to friendly fire and well, mostly friendly fire and some supporting fire from these Germanic archers, these Germanic horsemen weren't actually able to kill the Germanic hurlers, which is quite interesting. And here you can see friendly fire as well. That charge finishes off, breaks the Germanic horsemen, and now the cavalry advantage starts to, at least in terms of numbers, Obelix's units are in pretty good shape, while the units of Arctic Shieldbreaker are not in good shape. He only has 1, 2, 3 units of cavalry left. Of course this unit, but this unit is going to break momentarily. Still some ammo left on his Germanic archers, doing damage to the noble Alani, and the noble Alani is taking casualties from that. So this unit of hurlers becomes very, very important for killing off infantry from Arctic Shieldbreaker. But Obelix can do a significant amount of blocking here with his Germanic pikes. He just needs to be very careful with his Germanic hurlers here now, so they're not just swept away by a single cavalry charge. But at this point in the battle, things start looking really good for Obelix. Firing here with the Germanic hurlers, and they are doing damage to the Godin's Chosen and to the Horsehewers here. So all of these units are taking damage from this one Germanic hurler unit. Very nice way to use a Germanic hurler. These Germanic archers taking a bit of fire as well. Only 3 ammo left. Nice kills on them. You can see how poorly the Godin's Chosen, even though they are elite infantry, with their small shields, they cannot stand up to even slinger fire for long. But I can't help but feel that Obelix is a bit overextended here. Still, his flanks are well supported by water and by the cavalry. So blocking in the center is a nice idea. The redoubtable chieftain can just smash through the pikes here, but then he's open to cavalry charges. And this Germanic hurler is just standing and firing, slowing down all these units. And it's actually going to be able to snag this unit of Germanic horsemen before it gets to the Alani. And now the push comes from Arctic Shieldbreaker. Looks like he's going to go for this flank, which is the one that's the easiest to get around because of this large body of water. So here we have the main engagement starting. The Germanic horsemen crash into pikes sort of get snagged by some pikes and start losing a lot of men. So at this point, this battle is going very well for Obelix. Arctic Shieldbreaker is losing men unnecessarily. The Redoubtable Chieftain could just charge into pikes frontally and he will win that engagement. But Shield Wall is activated here. Sending Godin's Chosen charging into pikes, not a good idea because they have a good charge bonus. And yeah, look at this. They're going to lose a lot of men on the charge, whereas the Redoubtable Chieftain isn't going to lose anything. But these Godin's Chosen are going berserk. They're out of control. Still, fighting pikes is not the best idea with high charge, low armor infantry units.
Our men have given up and are running for their lives.
These pikes have done a nice job in stopping the charge, blunting the charge, and here we have the Elan General coming in to smash this Germanic horse, using his, let's see here, yeah, he was the Brace General, so using Brace to kill this Germanic horse general even faster, and these Godin's Chosen and these horse stewards completely out of position here, so they're not going to be able to support the main blob in the center, the main engagement. Elite Gothrosai crashing in, and they're going to mop up these horse stewards very easily. The flank of Arctic Shieldbreaker has completely collapsed. Everything he has that's important is engaged. He doesn't have control over these Godin's Chosen, so they're going to get smashed in the side by Noble Alani and lose quite a few men from this charge. Not as many as if that charge happened in the open. But the layered approach from Obelix worked very well here, and these Godin's Chosen, they're going to disintegrate under the charge of Elite Gothrosai. The Germanic horseman charges into Noble Alani. The Noble Alani is going to be able to hold for quite some time, but against Godin's Chosen and Germanic horse, they're not going to be able to stand up to that for long, I think. Nice charge here with the depleted Noble Alani, and one of the advantages of having the insane morale on these units is that even though there are very few men remaining, they're still going to put up a fight. And a charge from even a very depleted unit like this is going to hurt a lot. And here you have the pikes trying to hold off the onslaught of the Godin's Chosen, but they are of course not going to be able to do that. Just buy Obelix a bit more time. But Obelix's general is completely fine, and really no cavalry left that is unengaged from Arctic Shieldbreaker. The Elite Gothrosai throwing their javelins into the Germanic horse, and over here they're going to finish off the Godin's Chosen. Godin's Chosen chasing after a variety of units here, but having so many depleted skirmish units for Obelix works to his advantage by allowing him to stop units at several points and robbing them of charges. And Godin's Chosen getting hit by an Alani General. The Alani General hasn't done much yet, but at this point he just destroys this Godin's Chosen. And that's the danger of having very expensive infantry units that can just get mopped up by a single cavalry charge. These units out of control. The general here, the Redoubtable Chieftain, is holding on. He has a massive amount of armor and health, but he can't stand up to the Alani General hitting him in the rear like this. It's going to cause a lot of casualties, and although he has a nice bonus against infantry, that doesn't help him at all against cavalry. Since he only has 11 melee damage and 1 AP, he's going to get slaughtered by many cavalry units in the game. Which is true for many infantry units, of course. But at this point, yeah, there's nothing that Arctic Shieldbreaker can do now. The Redoubtable Chieftain is about to get hit once again by the Alani General. The Alani General doing some very nice cycle charging here. Crashing into one unit, turning around, crashing into the Redoubtable Chieftain. And the Redoubtable Chieftain is dropping so quickly here. He's not really able to do much against Noble Alani Cavalry. He's just getting ganged up on. And Arctic Shieldbreaker is very close to losing this battle due to balance of power. This Godin's Chosen unit is completely out of position, not being able to support the fight in any meaningful way. The redoubtable chieftain just breaking off the field. And even though there's a lot of morale for the Golden's Chosen here, not going to help them much when they are up against superior numbers like this. See how quickly they fall to precursors, and then the charge of the Elite Gotharsai just eats up the Golden's Chosen. Amazing that this unit hasn't broken yet. They're down to 40 morale, even with army losses. Very depleted unit of Noble Aloni crashing into their center. And just look at how, even though this unit is down to 7 men, just still wrecking this Golden Chosen, and the Elite Gotharsai come in to seal off the deal and finish the job. So very nice battle this between two atypical armies, I'd say. It's not typical to see this many skirmishers from the Allans and this few cavalry units, but Obelix made it work, and although some of these Golden's Chosen get insane kills, the units that underperformed the most here, the Horse Hewers and the Germanic Horse, just weren't able to stand up to the skirmish and the cavalry of Obelix here. Now, it would be interesting to see what Obelix could do with removing all of the upgrades on his Elite Gotharsai. Maybe bring some additional pikes for more screening duty, but overall his army worked fairly well, and this was a nice battle with several distinct phases of skirmishing, maneuvering. You could see, or I think it was Arctic Shieldbreaker, but he used a different name, not entirely sure. Aetheremthemwa or something. Anyway, so yeah, it would be interesting to see what Obelix could do with just bringing more units. And of course, Arctic Shieldbreaker, or whatever that name is, Aetheremthemwa something. Very high risk bringing shitty cavalry and high level infantry, but something different and something that's made for a good battle, in my opinion. So thanks to Obelix for sending me this replay. Strength and honor.